we're going to move on now to our second topic, and that is the Boston Red Sox. And I want to talk about the Red Sox because they are an intriguing bunch of guys, right? Last year, they made an impressive run, and I personally was not a fan of the Red Sox before the season. And I wasn't really buying into the Red Sox. Yeah, they acquired David Price, but I was kind of weary of their rotation. How much are they going to rely on Rick Porcello coming off a down year? Obviously, he turns out to be a Cy Young winner. And you have Stephen Wright at the time, who turns out to be an all-star, knuckleballer. Okay, fantastic. They go out and sign Price, but Price, we saw he struggled. But it came down to once the Red Sox, well, they totally blew my expectations out of the water. They were the best team in that division.
And two, no one was expecting Mookie Betts to be an MVP
candidate. He turned into Andrew McCutcheon.
Yeah, and David Ortiz too. I mean, no one was expecting him to
have
his
retirement. He was just unbelievable. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I mean, there was a lot of expectations.
And there was
that
questions
the Red Sox hit.
Related to Hanley Ramirez. He was going to go play first base, but obviously he could hit. So there were questions surrounding the Red Sox before the season, but they totally blew out my expectations.
Too, Jackie Bradley Jr. had a phenomenal start to the season, and
fantastic.
That helped them win so many games early on.
So the Red Sox, as we spoke on this, if you're still listening on Blog Talk Radio, thank you. You guys are the best. You're the lifeblood of MVP. If you're joining us on YouTube, welcome in, Red Sox fans. This is your segment. We're talking the most recent deal. All right, let's give credit where credit is due. Dave Dombrowski, okay? We kind of know the track record of Dombrowski as a
He's
GM.
Allergic to prospects.
Well, sure. But he's a go-getter, and that he comes from Detroit, and he went for it in Detroit. Now, they're going to be paying for it for several seasons, maybe as soon as not 2017, but maybe after. There's a lot of holes in that roster, but you look at Boston, there is such a healthy mix of really talented young players and the mix to go win it now.
And really with the young players too. I mean, you have a lot of young players in the lineup, but where they kind of lack the youth there is probably the rotation. Is because your starters are Porcello, Wright, Price, and Sale. I mean, Sale's probably, I think Sale's the youngest out of those three, and Sale's obviously the best out of those
Sale, Porcello, yeah.
four or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the only place where they don't have youth, where you kind of see. You do have Rodriguez, who came up and is a top prospect, but those guys, you don't have a lot of youth with the Red Sox rotation.
Sure. And when I look at, well, let's talk about their moves first, before I really dive into this roster and this depth chart, because I really like it. Yes, they gave up Moncada and a lot of other top prospects in that Chris Sale deal, the Michael Kopechs, the Basabe, and Victor Diaz. But I look at it, they get a top of the rotation starter. Now, what happened in the playoffs, Sean? It was their rotation kind of fell apart. They didn't have a chance, right? So you move on and you get a solidified starter. And obviously this rotation during the regular season is just going to carry them despite David Price's struggles last year. He's probably going to have a bounce back season because he's David Price. He's a damn good pitcher. And then you have Rick Porcello coming off his best season as a starter. It's like, whoa, Stephen Wright, all-star. Drew Pomeranz acquired last season from the Padres. I know it was his first full season as a starter since I think it was like his second season in the majors. But this was his first year. He threw over 100 innings. I think he totaled 170. Struggled a little bit with Boston, but he's definitely in the mix for that rotation. I would take Drew Pomeranz as my fifth starter. And then you move on and you have Clay Buchholz, who is kind of a question mark, but then a young lefty in Eduardo Rodriguez as well. So there are so many options within this rotation that will carry them throughout the regular season. Then you move on. They make a move for late inning reliever Tyler Thornburg from Milwaukee for third baseman Travis Shaw, who I was surprised they got rid of, as well as two other prospects. So then the back end of that bullpen, because they lost Junichi Chizawa and Koji Uehara.
Yep.
Sorry. Now you have it Kimbrel, Thornburg, Joe Kelly too. How much you want to rely on Joe Kelly, I'm not sure. But that eighth and ninth inning is solidified. That's important. Obviously, we saw it in the playoffs how much that is important. And then they have to replace David Ortiz. Now, Mitch Moreland may not be the most sexy option, right? But that offers diversity that they can do at the first base position and within the lineup. Hanley Ramirez can DH for you while Moreland plays first. So I really, really like the offseason to this point for the Red Sox by Dave Dombrowski.
Too, I mean, looking outside of the moves and actual players, I mean, you saw the picture that I sent you of Pablo Sandoval. I mean,
how about it?
He dropped a Pablo Sandoval. I mean, the guy looks skinny. He looks in shape, and we know how good Pablo can be. And
he's just been brutal lately.
A motivated Pablo who is healthy. Yeah. I mean, this can be finally something bright for
comeback
for the
player
signing.
of the year opportunity.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Seriously. I mean, that's one thing too. And then you obviously have the veteran leadership of Pedroia. I mean, this infield won't be the best, at least, defensively. But I mean,
well, at the corners, but
Pedroia,
the middle is really
good. Yeah, but I mean, like Sandoval at some points has shown a good glove, but I mean, Moreland's nothing to write home about at first base here. But really, I mean, you're going to get great contact hitting from Pedroia. You're going to get what you got from Bogarts last year, which was phenomenal. Sandoval at his best is near a 300 hitter, and Moreland's at least going to be able to drive runs in. And then you also have Betts as well. You have Bradley Jr. was fantastic.
Look at this.
And you have Bendetti as well.
Benintendi, yep.
So, I mean, I love it. And really the one part where it's like, I don't know where you're going to get a ton of production is the catcher spot, even though Sandy Leon wasn't awful.
Blake Swart, they have another young player that they have faith in at the catcher's position. But you look at, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it in terms of their talent. You're welcome. Young player-wise, as well as depth. I mean, Xander Bogaerts, one of the best shortstop in baseball,
He's awesome.
Quite frankly. And then Dustin Pedroia, obviously proven veteran, all-star, and you can go on and on for his work ethic. Hanley Ramirez totally proved he can play first base and a stud hitter. Pablo Sandoval, now this is the question I have for the Boston Red Sox. How much production are they going to get from third base? I mean, they can kind of supplement that throughout the lineup in the outfield because Jackie Bradley Jr. turned out to be legitimate last year. He had one of the best seasons of his career, obviously, and among center fielders in baseball, and as well as Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is turning into a legitimate superstar. And then you have a young Andrew Benintendi. Are you kidding me? This outfield is legit. And I'll tell you what, that third base, you can get by with a Brock Holt who can play anywhere in the infield. But if you get anything from Pablo Sandoval this year, that is going to be exciting.
Seriously, I mean, you don't have him to have a career year like he has had previously, where he was hitting around like 340 or whatever you did ridiculously in San Fran, or 330, I think it was, in 2009. But if you get a season like he had in 2011, 2010, where he was hitting 315, 300, driving in 70 to 60 runs. I mean, that's going to be something big for this Boston team, because if you look at this, I mean, this actual like lineup that you can bring out, I mean, Pedroia might be batting like 7th. Or if you do want to put him at the top of the lineup, he'll be batting 2nd. But, I mean, you have so much depth down the line. I mean, it's going to be difficult to actually see what this lineup can look like. And you're going to be dangerous 1 through pretty much 8. And it's something crazy. And you pair that with a guy like Chris Sale, who has not got run support throughout his whole career. I mean, looking at what Porcello did, I think Chris Sale can win 25 games and maybe lose only 4 or 3.
Sure.
I mean, that's how dominant he can be.
With that offense, absolutely. And Chris Sale is finally on a team where he can make the playoffs.
Pitch in the postseason.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. And we're going to go back to that conversation because it's an important one as we look at the Boston Red Sox. Last year, their downfall was the production from their rotation, and you can't blame Dave Dombrowski for that. Mm-hmm. So what he did was go after it, and he got one of the best pitcher on the market today and one of the best in baseball. So you have Sale, Porcello, Price.
Probably the second best lefty. I was going to forget about Kershaw. Second best lefty in baseball.
Well, you can argue he's better than Kershaw, but I mean, it's a very tough argument to make. But Chris Sale is legit, obviously, and we've seen that. And we see this Boston Red Sox team. I think they're legit, but I tell you what, I'm not going to say that the Red Sox are the team to beat in the American League yet. I still think it's Cleveland because right now, and 2, Edwin Encarnacion is still on the market, and that goes because, well, Mark Trumbo as well. They want these power hitters.
Jose Bautista as well.
And Bautista. Yeah. They're asking for so much money and a lot of years, and teams are not willing to commit that kind of market value to these players, especially these big time hitters.
Especially guys like Encarnacion and Bautista because of their age as well.
Sure, and yes, that's another factor. But you look at Encarnacion, and he's in the mix to become a Cleveland Indian, and if that happens, bar none, I think the Indians are the best team in that American League.
And as long as they can stay healthy, I mean, you're bringing back Brantley as well. I mean, and this rotation's going to be fully healthy.
They went to the World Series without Brantley.
And Salazar and Carrasco as well.
Absolutely.
In that rotation. I mean, you're able to keep those guys healthy. It's going to be tough for the Red Sox to overtake them. At least going into this season, because I think the Red Sox can overtake them. Going through the season, the way the season plays out. But going into it, the Indians are still going to be, in my mind, the best team in baseball, or the best team in the AL. Just with when they're healthy, what they can actually put out there.
I'll tell you what, if Cleveland was at full health, similar to what the Chicago Cubs were, I think the Indians win that World Series. That rotation, I don't think anybody can touch them. Carrasco, Salazar, Tomlin, Kluber.
You don't, yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's not fair.
And then also you don't have to play Coco Crisp or Rajay Davis.
Sure.
And you can put Michael Brantley out there, who's a legitimate all-star.
You don't have to rely on Tyler Naquin, but I'm sorry, Red Sox fans, but this is going to be an intense American League
It's just going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Too, with the Astros, with the moves they made, I mean, that lineup's just as dangerous as this Red Sox one. And really with the Astros, the only thing holding them back is really can Keuchel bounce back to where he was in the Cy Young, and also they're still in the mix for Quintana too. So if they add him to the rotation, you're going to have 3 teams in the Indians, Astros, and Red Sox who are going to be dangerous. And you still always can't write out the Blue Jays because they're always popping in the playoffs, but still they're falling off, especially if they're going to lose both Encarnacion and Bautista.
Sure.
So I mean, the 3 though in the Astros, Indians, and Red Sox, it's going to be a fun
AL. Absolutely. This offseason is not over yet. So much parity left to be made here.
I mean, the White Sox can still trade away half their team.
And that's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
So if Red Sox, if you're interested in Jose Abreu, it's not going to happen. Anyway, no, that was final thoughts. Move. Not at all. Final thoughts on the Boston Red Sox.
I said for the White Sox.
Right. Oh, well, yeah, for them. If they get rid of Abreu, that's a good move.
Yeah.
So for the Red Sox, applauding Dave Dombrowski, fantastic job in acquiring the best pitcher arguably in baseball, as well as getting one of the best late inning relievers in Tyler Thornburg. Are you kidding me? 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 80-mile-an-hour curveball with 12-6 action, and an 87-mile-an-hour change. Struck out 90 in 67 innings pitched, so that's a lockdown 8th inning guy.
You look at that whip, 2.9.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Under 1 is
ridiculous.
Phenomenal. So wonderful job. They lost Travis Shaw, but I think they can manage without a young third base prospect who impressed me in the major league level. But overall, this Boston Red Sox team is among the best in baseball and definitely 1 or 2 in the American League. So good job, Boston. Love baseball.